We're going to take a look at the quadratic formula, and this quadratic formula is going to work for everything quadratics. So very, very important that you know how to do this. So you're going to make a final tab, but you're going to leave one more space for a tab for later. And this is going to be called quadratic formula. So then again, take your ruler, cut it to the margin, and then cut it down, leaving one more tab. And if you need more space, you can actually do it. If you don't want to continue this, you can continue on the next page. I'm just going to make mine fit here. So quadratic formula. Alright, so quadratic formula only works when the highest power is 2, when it's a quadratic equation or function or polynomial or whatever you want to call it. Only works when the highest power is 2. And what is the quadratic formula? It's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Memorize it, know it backwards and forwards. It really helps when you can't find those two numbers. Now the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, will tell you how many solutions the quadratic has. Right, so it'll tell you how many solutions the quadratic has. This is a listening check. Underline discriminant. Underline discriminant. If the discriminant is greater than 0, it has 2 real solutions. If it's equal to 0, it has 1 real solution. And if it's less than 0, it has no real solutions, or really 2 imaginary solutions. In AP Calculus, we're not really going to go into imaginary, so you'll be okay not even knowing less than 0, but just let you know. Alright, so if you take a look at an example, let's say we had 2x squared plus 9x minus 18. The coefficient with the x squared will be your a. So what's the coefficient with x squared? 2. That will be your a. The coefficient with just the x will be b, don't forget the symbol or the sign. And the coefficient at the end with no x will be c. And all you do after that is literally plug in a, b, c into the quadratic formula. So x equals minus b. What's minus b? So it's minus 9 plus or minus b squared, which is 9 squared, which is 81, minus 4 times a, which is 2, c, which is negative 18. All over 2 times a, which is 2, equals, and go ahead and simplify that. So you're going to get negative 9 plus or minus 81, and then I've got a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive, and then 4 times 2 is 8 times 18, and I'm just going to do it over here on the side. And by the way, you still need to write this down, is 144 all over 2 times 2, which is 4. Go ahead and simplify that some more. So you're going to get negative 9 plus or minus, and then 81 plus 144 is going to give me 225 all over 4. Equals, simplify that more, negative 9 plus or minus square root of 225 is 15, divided by 4, and then actually do it. So negative 9 plus 15, that's 6 divided by 4. This is a listening check. Color in the equal sign before the negative 9. Color in the equal sign before the negative 9. And then if you go the other route, negative 9 minus 15, that's more negatives, so negative 24 over 4 is negative 6. So let's go ahead and simplify the 6 over 4. That's going to be 3 over 2. Alright, so those will be your 2 answers. And to write this in factored form, just write the solution. So you've got x is 3 over 2 is one solution. Get rid of the fraction, so multiply by 2, so 2x equals 3. Then take 3 to the other side, so 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. That will be your factor term, 2x minus 3, because before you put it equal to 0. Same thing with the negative 6, just take it to the other side, and you're basically making it equal to 0, because that's what you would do to go to 5. This is a listening check, circle number 2. This is a listening check, circle number 2. Alright, so first thing you need to do is actually arrange it in order, x squared, x, and then the number. So just rewrite this. Equals 0, perfect. And then find out what a is. It's the coefficient with x squared is a, the coefficient with x is b, and the last one is c. So just the number by itself is c. Then plug it into your equation, negative b plus or minus b, the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative b, so negative 8 plus or minus b squared, which is 8 squared, which is 64, minus 4 times a, which is negative 3, times c, which is negative 2, all over 2 times a, which is negative 3. Simplify this, negative 8 plus or minus, this is a listening check, color in negative 8. The square root of 64, and then this is going to be a negative, because a negative times a negative times a negative is a negative. Then 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, and then the bottom is going to be negative 6. Simplify that more, that's going to give you 40 and negative 6. And now you can't take the square root of 40, but you can simplify it. Okay, so I'm going to break it down completely. 40 breaks down to 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. And if I see a pair, I can take the pair out. So because it's a square root, I'm looking for a pair. If it was cube root, I would be looking for 3. So because you see a pair of 2's, you can take the 2 out. So when you take the 2 out, you're going to get negative 8 plus or minus 2. And then what's left inside? 2 times 5, which is 10. Once you have that, you can simplify it because everything is divisible by 2. So go ahead and divide by 2. 2 goes into 8 4 times, 2 into 2 1 time, and 2 into 6 negative 3 times. And so my final answer, just rewriting it, negative 4 plus or minus radical 10 all over negative 3. And that's pretty much what the quadratic formula is. You just need to memorize the formula itself.